This condominium represents zero compromise with the space that we had to work with.
I think when a space is truly designed correctly, that it's just truly beautiful and you're just blown away. That's the kind of thing that should happen when you come into a space like this, and I think it definitely shows. And design is so critical. I mean, it's kind of a balance of science and art together. Every little spot has been perfectly thought through for convenience and storage needs, everything down to where your dishes are stored. All of those things are completely correctly designed.
The Concord, this building, was the very first successful concrete condominium that Seattle had seen. We acquired the shell here unfinished. So while the building was being built, we hired Robert Lettingham Design in Vancouver.
I think that this space is very unique. It could have been designed yesterday. I mean, if you look at this space, it's very timeless, and that all of Bob's work was very timeless in its approach. I think the contextual use of materials, the spaces, all of those elements are just gorgeous together, and I think that's what really defines sort of a Bob Lettingham space in its entirety. Bob Lettingham was definitely a leader in the profession. For 40 years or more, he became this icon of design in Vancouver and across Canada at that time, and then slowly emerged into the US market as well. This was a special project for Bob, and it was definitely something he cared deeply about. Design is critical in any space. The difference is when you have somebody as incredible a designer as Bob Lettingham was, every nuance is completely thought out. All of the conveniences of storage, spatial balance, proportion, scale, all of those elements are perfectly done.
The quality of the polished plaster throughout the property is extremely high. The custom glass, it was all done here in Seattle. We've approved the design. They were just getting underway. Glassworks was just a new thing back then. And so most of this cast or slumped glass that's throughout was pretty leading edge.
Quality of materials was so important to Bob. That was one of his key design elements for all of his spaces, and you can really see the refinement level that's existing in this space. I think in this particular space, it's pretty luxe in its material palette. I mean, there's amazing floors that are large-scale granite, the use of cast glass, and a lot of steel that was used. Back then, you would never see this material palette put together in this kind of dramatic way, and the quality of materials is quite beautiful. I think that really sets it apart.
People would walk in and then say nothing and just look around, because I think they realized this was a quintessential Seattle place. Even after we moved in and Bob came down, he looked around and he just kind of stood there, didn't say much. And I said, "You're pleased with yourself?" And he had this kind of sly grin, and he was a very tall person, and looked at me and he goes, "Yes."